Today we'll show you a 1987 American fantasy adventure film titled The Princess Bride. The story is about the adventures of Wesley, a daring and brave farm worker, as he sets out on a quest to save his beloved Princess Buttercup from the clutches of the detestable Prince Humperdinck. Throughout this journey, Wesley encounters a host of allies and makes new friends who accompany him on his mission. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. An elderly gentleman, with the intention of lifting the spirits of his young bedridden grandson, begins to read from the treasured family time The Princess Bride. The grandson, who prefers tales of action and adventure to romantic stories, is initially resistant, but reluctantly agrees to listen, not wanting to hurt his grandfather's feelings. Throughout the telling of the story, the farm boy turned pirate's journey, complete with obstacles, enemies and allies as he sets out to be reunited with his true love, captivates the young boy. The story revolves around Buttercup, a beautiful young woman who lives on a farm in the imaginary realm of Florin. Buttercup commands the respect of farmhand Wesley, who always responds with a dutiful "as you wish" to her requests. Their deep love for one another leads Wesley to depart from the farm in pursuit of wealth and success so that they may one day be wed. However, while at sea, his ship is overtaken by the notorious dread pirate Roberts, leaving Wesley missing and presumed dead. Despite the grim news, Buttercup never loses hope that one day her beloved will return to her. The tale takes on a journey filled with twists and turns as Buttercup grapples with loss and hope, while Wesley faces the trials and tribulations of life as a pirate, all leading towards their eventual reunion. 5 years have passed since Wesley's departure, and Buttercup is now being forced into an engagement with a cruel Prince Humperdinck of Florin. On the eve of her wedding, she's abducted by a trio of ruthless outlaws: Vizzini, a cunning Sicilian, Fezzik, a massive giant from Greenland, and Inigo Montoya, a master swordsman from Spain who has a personal vendetta to fulfill against the six-fingered man who murdered his father. As they make their escape with Buttercup in tow, they're pursued by a mysterious masked man dressed in black, as well as Prince Humperdinck and his army. The journey becomes a race against time as the masked man and Prince Humperdinck both try to reach Buttercup first, leading to a series of intense battles and thrilling moments that'll determine the fate of all involved. The masked man finally catches up with the outlaws at the perilous cliffs of insanity and engages them in a series of confrontations. He proves to be a formidable opponent, first defeating Inigo in a thrilling fencing match before rendering him unconscious. The masked man then employs his physical strength to choke Fezzik into submission, rendering him powerless. Finally, using his wit and cunning, he tricks Vizzini into drinking a poisonous substance, bringing an end to the mastermind behind the abduction. With the outlaws defeated, the masked man takes Buttercup by force and sets off in the next stage of their journey, the outcome of which remains unknown. As the masked man and Buttercup continue on their journey, she begins to piece together the mystery of his identity. She accuses him of being the notorious dead pirate Roberts, responsible for killing her beloved Wesley. Overcome with anger and grief, she shoves him into a deep gorge. However, as he tumbles down, he utters the words "as you wish," a phrase familiar to Buttercup and one that Wesley used to say to her. At that moment, she realizes the truth and throws herself into the gorge after him, determined to be reunited with long-lost love. In this breathtaking moment, the two finally find their way back to each other, proving that true love can conquer all. As Wesley and Buttercup make their way through the treacherous fire swamp to evade Prince Humperdinck and his army, Wesley reveals the truth about his identity as the dread pirate Roberts. He explains that the title is not a personal one, but rather is passed down from one pirate to another, and that he assumed the role after the previous Roberts wished to retire. Having finally found Buttercup, Wesley now has a newfound purpose in life and intends to surrender the title to someone else. However, their journey is far from over as Prince Humperdinck and his men finally catch up with them after they emerge from the fire swamp. In a desperate bid to protect Wesley, Buttercup agrees to return with Humperdinck on the promise that he will release Wesley unharmed. But as they head back to Florin, the fate of Wesley and Buttercup remains uncertain, and the stakes are higher than ever before. As Buttercup returns with Prince Humperdinck, she's unaware of the sinister plan that's about to unfold. Humperdinck secretly instructs his cruel and manipulative advisor, Count Rugen, to take Wesley to the pit of despair, a chamber of torture. Just before he loses consciousness, Wesley notices a distinctive characteristic of Count Rugen. He has 6 fingers on his right hand. This small detail sets the stage for a thrilling journey filled with danger and adventure as Wesley sets out to defeat his captors and reclaim the love of his life. As the wedding between Buttercup and Prince Humperdinck draws near, Buttercup becomes increasingly distressed and threatens to take her own life if the wedding were to occur. In a desperate attempt to calm Buttercup, Humperdinck falsely promises to find Wesley for her. However, this is just a ruse. Humperdinck's true intention is to start a war with the neighboring kingdom of Gilder. He plans to do this by killing Buttercup and making it look like Gilder was responsible for the murder. In order to accomplish this, Humperdinck had earlier hired Vizzini to carry out the task before Wesley interfered with his plans. Meanwhile, Fezzik finds himself as part of a brute squad tasked with clearing the thieves' forest before the wedding. While carrying out his duties, he encounters a drunken Inigo living in the forest. Fezzik sobers him up and informs him of Rugen's involvement in Wesley's capture. Inigo quickly realizes that he and Fezzik will need Wesley's help if they hope to storm the castle and save their friend. As Buttercup discovers the truth about Prince Humperdinck's lies and deception, she lashes out at him, calling him a coward for not following through on his promise to find Wesley. In response, Humperdinck has Buttercup locked up and begins the cruel punishment of Wesley, subjecting him to brutal torture that ultimately leads to what appears to be his death. Inigo and Fezzik, who are searching for Wesley, trace his cries to the forest and find him lying motionless, believed to be dead. However, they refuse to give up hope and bring Wesley to Miracle Max, a legendary folk healer, in the hopes of reviving him. Through his unconventional methods, Max is able to bring Wesley back to life, though he remains greatly weakened from the traumatic experience. Inigo, determined to avenge his father's death, finally confronts Rugen in a heated battle. Meanwhile, Wesley, now at full strength, duels with Humperdinck, who attempts to fight dirty. However, Wesley proves to be the better swordsman, and Humperdinck is eventually defeated. Buttercup is rescued, and Inigo finally finds redemption by killing Rugen and fulfilling his lifelong quest for revenge. The trio, reunited with Buttercup, escape the castle and sail away into the sunset, finally free from the trials and tribulations. As Buttercup and Wesley are finally reunited, Wesley informs her that the wedding ceremony was never fully completed, and thus she's not actually married to Humperdinck. Overwhelmed with relief and joy, Buttercup is saved from the brink of despair by Wesley's assurance. Meanwhile, Inigo finally gets his revenge by defeating Rugen and putting an end to the long-standing grudge he held against him. With the obstacles and enemies defeated, the true love of Buttercup and Wesley is finally able to flourish, unencumbered by any hindrances. As the group prepares to leave, Humperdinck attempts to fight Wesley, but Wesley, through sheer force of will, manages to rise and confront the prince, causing Humperdinck to surrender without a fight. Just then, they hear Fezzik's voice calling out to them, announcing that he has obtained 4 white horses to aid in their escape. The group quickly makes their way out of the castle, ready to embark on their next adventure together. The group of 4 make their way to the white horses and mount them, leaving Prince Humperdinck behind, bound and helpless. Inigo reflects on his life now that he has finally found and killed the man responsible for his father's death. Wesley, seeing Inigo's confusion and aimlessness, offers him the position of the Dread Pirate Roberts. The sun rises on the group as they ride off, and Wesley and Buttercup share a passionate kiss, finally able to be together after all the trials and tribulations they've faced. The future looks bright for all 4 of them as they venture forward, and they will always remember the journey they took together to reach this happy moment. The grandfather closes the book, ready to put it away for the night, but the young boy stops him and says he doesn't mind the kissing part after all. The grandfather smiles and opens the book to the last page, reading the final line, "Of all the kisses ever shared, 5 have been deemed the most passionate and pure, but this one surpassed them all." The grandfather tells the boy to go to sleep, and the grandson asks him to return the next day and read the book again. The grandfather replies, "As you wish." And here the movie ends. And that's all about the video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to stay up to date with such interesting movie recap videos.